Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T. from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, it's good to be back with you. The Brown Beauty is back on duty, fresh off the road today. Man, it's been a hot day here in Southern California. But a good day. Hopefully it's been a good day for you, my friends out there. We have got a great show lined up for you. Yes, it's a thunderific Thursday. It's the Thursday of champions. Only the minds of men and their mortal achievements, the shadow knows all. And he's showing up here. His name is Dell the Shadow Man. That's what I'm going to call you.
Well, I'll take that. It's all good. How you doing, Mr. Jesse T?
Real good, buddy. Real good. And we're trying a couple of new things out on my end so the folks can hear us both on Instagram and Facebook here on my end, as well as what's going on with the studio at thepowervoices.com. And yes, I can't forget about that handsome-looking guy, the bassist of all basses. That's right. The man who knows how to sling a drink or two. That's right. We're talking about Big D Craig. What's happening, Big D?
Hey, walk away.
Oh, yeah. He's a walk-away movement. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Some of the topics we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about Trump accomplishments. I'm going to jump into right here real quick. Population and how it's changing America. What's really happening in America in terms of our demographics in 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, and how the political spectrum is going to change dramatically because of the demographic change in America. And I'm going to touch on the topic of racism because I'm really sick and tired of all this racist hatred running around our country today from everybody and everywhere. It just seems like it's a kettle about ready to explode. But first off, got to say hi to our friends on Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero and Facebook.com/The Power of Voices. Also, our friends on Instagram over here at Instagram Live and YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, G+, also Pinterest, Read It, Blogger, and Tumblr. Boy, we're on there and everywhere. And, of course, on the foundation that started it all, thepowerofvoices.com, where you can catch our radio feed, and everything is archived up there, as well as on YouTube, which we're broadcasting live on now as well. So let's get it going right now. We call Thursday the day that two fellas get together who've known each other for most of their lives, but they're at the opposite ends of a lot of very important things. And I just love throwing fuel on the fire because, quite frankly, I'm like a chameleon. I run right down the middle. The independent thinker, conservative myself, Jesse T, good to have you with us here on the Jesse T Show. So let's do something real quick here. And I'm going to talk real fast about Donald Trump's accomplishments because, you know, everybody puts Donald Trump down. Everybody's saying that the guy has done nothing. Well, I'm going to go over some things that he has done. He appointed Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch and more than 75 other constitutional sound federal judges, 30 of which are serving, reinstated and expanded Mexico City's policy blocking foreign and from being used in abortions, blocking our money from them using it for their abortions, cracking down on illegal immigration in sanctuary cities, as Attorney General Jeff Sessions put it, though Jeff Sessions is a useless guy. They should fire him or he should quit. The lawlessness, the abduction of people coming across our border, turning into sanctuary cities, and illegal immigration is causing a lot of problems. Issued an order killing 2 federal regulations for every one federal regulation he signed. But in actuality, 22 regulations have been destroyed for every one federal regulation or executive order that Donald Trump signed. That's why our government is running more efficiently. He engineered a historic tax cut, withdrew U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement, which was a farce, didn't allow TARP to go through, reversed erroneous Obama environmental rules that has opened up our environmental aspects in our businesses and things like that. Kickstarted America's energy sector, and fracking all the way. We don't need that oil from Saudi Arabia. Presided over an economic and stock market boom. I don't care when you say it started. He's presiding over the big fat part of it. Lowered unemployment, brought manufacturing back to America. Some are leaving, some are staying. More are coming back than ever before. Rebuilt the nation's military, got rid of ISIS. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. revoked an education part, revoked the education from that thing they used to call Common Core. Oh man, how terrible that was. Restored the freedom of military chaplains to espouse biblical morality in the military, and eventually reversing Mr. Obama's transgender military policy. Cracked down on sex trafficking. President Trump just signed a new law, overhauled the mismanaged Veterans Administration. That happened real fast. Veterans are getting better health services. It's got to improve some more. It's got to get more efficient, but at least he did something. Replaced Obamacare incrementally. He's chopping it up like a big tree. Hey, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. Imposed sanctions on Venezuela, socialist dictatorship. They're about ready to fall. Recognized Jerusalem. Worked in Central America. And the list goes on against MS-13. And the list has gone on and on and on and on and on. And that's just there. I could talk about so many things that he has done straight. I mean, manufacturing created more jobs. Yes, Obama was creating jobs, but Donald Trump has made that explode on the scene because of his left bureaucracy, and the list goes on. GDP growth. I mean, you can't deny these facts. All you got to do is go on any Google search and you'll pick them up. So why does the world of America hate Donald Trump so much? Is it fake, or is it made up, or should they be hating this guy? It's open to you, fellas. Dell, what do you think?
I'm going to defer to Dominic, please.
I'll tell you what I think. I think that the media is largely responsible for the tarnishing of the image of this president.
Bullshit.
I think specifically MSNBC, some people call it PMSNBC, and Rachel Maddow, but others, CNN, a lot of the mainstream media continues to hit this narrative that Trump is a racist, that he's a homophobe, that he goes around grabbing women by their, whatever. They're constantly being bombarded. They're being beaten over the head with people who are telling them that this man is not fit to do the job. Okay, and it's ridiculous because wait a minute. This is the man you need to do the job. You need somebody who's not scared to get their hands dirty, and that's why he's winning.
I mean, the guy has done so much in the first 500 days of his presidency. The list is so huge. In June of 2018, the labor force grew by 601,000 people. Workers as the labor force participation rate has increased. Now, no, Obama was doing that the last few years. His stuff was kicking in, but it was kicking in real slow. So you got to pay, you got to say what happened was right. But he has grown exponentially under Donald Trump. So, Del, what do you say about this?
My dad is a very wise man, and he taught me a lot of stuff when I was a kid, as Dominic will probably tell you, because he was right there as well. And one of the things he told me is, son, never confuse activity with achievement. And everything that you just said here, I'm sorry.
I don't understand that. Activity.
Well, I'm about to explain it.
All right, explain that to me.
I'm about to explain it to you. Everything that you just listed there is bullshit.
It's facts. It's coming straight off factual documents.
Excuse me, except for the economy. None of that other crap matters. There's the ideology that one side is going to like more than the other side. So you can throw all that crap out because, like you say, the Neil Gorsuch thing. Really? Did we really think that a Republican president was going to pick a Democratic judge for that? I mean, are you for real? When you look at let's just stick with the judges for a second, because before I go to the economy, he has appointed 87 federal judges. These guys are judges for life. These are the last stop if you have a case in front of the U.S. government before you get to the Supreme Court. So pretty much what they say kind of goes. Out of the 87 people that he's appointed there, 85 of them are white men that look exactly like Jesse. There's no diversity to it. There's nothing going on with that. There's one black guy and one Hispanic guy, and they're probably both, token conservatives as well.
Constitutional judges that believe in the Constitution of the United States of America. They're not liberal-sided judges. They're constitutionalists.
Okay, yes, whatever you want to call it, constitutionalist, conservative, whatever the hell name you want to put on it. But my point is this, is that if you have a Republican president, a Republican Congress, you know what I'm saying, backed up by, and I'm going to call it what it is, a Republican Supreme Court, then you know what? You should be able to do all of that crap that you just named. But like I said,
turned our country around. Would you have rather squalid in the happening?
Turning it around from what? Everything
was. Look at, man, we had very small.
I go outside every day, and I never ever have seen the zombie Walking Dead that you guys are talking about here. I've never seen it. And when it happens, please let me know.
I tell you what, I see it every time I go outside.
You still got your brain. I see they didn't eat your brain.
So you're saying of 1.7 million jobs and cutting the unemployment is not a good thing? I mean, come on.
Of course it's a good thing, but he takes credit.
Your pocket, you can take care of your family.
He takes credit for something he hasn't done. My point is this. My point is this.
2 years as the president now.
You heard it first.
Something he hasn't done doesn't work anymore, Del. That stuff doesn't work anymore. He's 500 days into his presidency now.
Okay. You're going to hear it here first, because I want to say it here first, and in a year from now, I want to see the look on both of y'all.
Yeah, it's always a year from now.
I want to see the look on your faces, because that's when his policies are
Area 51 and these little green reptilian aliens are going to come out of Area 47, which actually
talking about the economy. I'm talking about the economy.
And they're going to walk around, and I'm going to call them the illegal aliens because they don't have
I'm talking about the economy. I'm talking about the economy here, because really, to me, the only thing that matters is what you do with the economy. Everything else is a trickle down.
You're telling me that all these statistics are some little geeky-eyed freak sitting in the back of the White House making this stuff up and pumping it out when over 500 companies have announced bonuses, wages increase, and new investments. When $1.5 trillion in tax cuts to individuals, which he's trying to get that to be mandatory and forever, and the Congress he's going to have to fight the left on that. $3.2 trillion in gross tax cuts. This is not a good thing.
He's not fighting the left. He controls every aspect of government. What are you talking about? You can call it whatever you want to call it in 2018. I've seen this show before.
It's not a good thing. I don't know about you.
I've seen this show before.
You haven't seen this show before.
Of course we have.
40 years, nobody has done it.
Of course we have. And I can go down the list.
Bush was the most horrible president, Bush 1 and 2, that you could have ever imagined. They were just evil, evil, evil people. One of the most evil, corrupt, awful families.
I'm talking about the economy.
Clinton, what? He lived on the laurels of Reagan.
Okay.
And down there, man. So what president? And Obama, he destroyed so much. He bent over for everybody. This is why we have to fight for our trade.
He did. We needed a leader. We got a referee. That was Barack Obama. Furthermore, what Jesse has not mentioned about Trump, Jesse didn't bring up the foreign policy. Okay, I mean, he's meeting with Putin. He met with the leader of North Korea. Okay, and he's negotiating a peaceful exit for the United States in Syria. Everybody knows that ISIS is Israel and the United States in Syria, and he's trying to get out of there. We're just throwing money away by participating in that stupid war. I mean, his foreign policy is a step in the right direction, in my opinion.
NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Act, he didn't just throw it in the trash can. They're negotiating that right now to make it a better deal for this country. He just didn't can it and throw it in the garbage disposal. They're in the process. He said, look, it doesn't work. We're not going to do this. We're going to renegotiate. And that's what he's doing. He's put down the little rocket boy. He took the money back from Iran. He's put Putin in his place. He's got China. Their economy is on the brink of explosion right now. If you follow them at all, Venezuela, socialist, is falling apart 1,000,000% inflation. The guy is doing just great things. He's making deals everywhere where deals should be, like with the EU. We're finally getting control back a little bit. That's all we're asking for.
Are you guys finished with your dumb rant?
No,
sorry, Lee, you were getting ready to say something.
No, go ahead.
Well, you know what I was getting ready to say. Like I said at the beginning, don't confuse activity with achievement. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you excuse me. What he's doing is nothing but nouveau trickle-down economics.
And what is so wrong with that?
Because it fails every time.
Fail under Reagan.
Of course it did.
In 1987, it took us from 18% fixed rate interest.
In 1987,
fixed rate interest.
Okay. In 1987, we had a downturn from trickle-down economics.
It expanded the ability for manufacturers. It expanded loans. It expanded the bank's ability to fund projects. It opened up the door for Americans who could not afford to buy a house. The banks redesigned programs that allowed Americans that could not afford to buy a house to be able to buy a house.
Okay, well, see, here's the thing. This is revisionist history here to me. I want you to look at the downturn of 1987 and then tell me if that shit worked. Then I want you to go back to Baby Bush. Same formula. Cut regulations and cut taxes. Don't you realize that the middle class does not get any money when you cut regulations?
Losing you.
That's for big guys.
You, Dale. Losing you, buddy.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
You got to get that mic. Yeah, I think you were breaking up. The last thing you said broke up terribly.
Me?
Yeah, look, I just talked and I'll let you know.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you clear now. So
okay,
1987, go from 87 because that's where I started losing.
87, we had the down.
Yeah, apparently we're having a little bit of a problem with Dale's microphone. So he's going to go ahead and work that out, and then he's going to rejoin the conversation.
You don't have to get rid of me, guys. Can you hear me now?
That'll be your shadow, buddy. Now,
yeah, I'm not going nowhere.
You're going to get rid of me. I'm going to be when you're 8 years old.
Here's the thing. This is classic bust and boom economy. Barack talked about this. You're looking at the good times right now, but when it catches up with you, now you're going to have that stupid look on your face. Is all these tax cuts that we gave $1.5 trillion, the majority of these companies are doing nothing but stock buybacks. It hasn't increased wages. It has not. It gave more jobs, but the reality of it is they're low-paying jobs. What we should be trying to accomplish is wage equality, wealth equality. Because once the downturn comes again, we're going to be right back in the same situation that we were in 2009. Bust and boom economies don't work. It was created by Ronald Reagan, also called voodoo economics. We have never tried that silliness before. How many times are we going to do this before we realize that it's a stupid philosophy?
Well, I got to tell you, voodoo economics, you may want to call it, but I got to tell you, everybody that I know between the time Ronald Reagan came on board in 1980 to the time he left, and then when Bush won, started screwing everything up. And then
he didn't screw it up. He inherited his crap. He inherited his crap. But I remember this.
What he did, he screwed a lot of things up. He wanted to raise taxes and the whole lot.
He had to raise taxes from the economy.
Great. the economy boomed, and people bought houses, and people bought cars, and people put their kids through school, and people saved money, and people were working. The problem, the way I see it, between then and now is that we've allowed the world to take advantage of us for the last 4 presidents. We've allowed the world to take advantage of us.
We're going to see about your theory about this dumb tariff.
And we're taking it back.
Renegotiating
but it has to be
global deals. We're going to see about your theory on that real quick. We're going to see about your theory on that real quick. It's an outdated theory. The last time that we tried to do it was in the 1920s. That's what started the Great Depression. So if you want to look at it now, this economy now is actually still Barack Obama's. That's what it is. It's 90% Barack Obama's, and he threw a little fuel on the fire to pump it up. But if you look in the numbers, wait a minute, if you look at every growth number outside of maybe GDP in 2016, and then look at 2017 for Donald Trump, even if you want to give him credit for 2017, which you should not, 2017, the numbers are exactly the same. Actually, Barack's numbers are better. Better job growth, better GDP. Go look them up.
Well, I got to tell you, man, you're wrong.
Okay, well,
you need to look them up, because in 2000, I take it, the first year of a presidency, you're always working on the last president's
the last year of the president's budget,
because his plan is still in effect.
Of course.
That first year.
Right.
It's the second year of Donald Trump, which is this year.
This year, 2018.
It exploded this year.
It's not exploded. What is stop? It has not exploded. Wait, show me where it's exploded. Stop.
Unemployment has gone down.
It's going down 1%. It's going down 1% from last year to this year.
You fail to recognize the fact that it's his presidency. You fail to recognize you're living in the past with Obama.
I know how to count, and I know how to judge what an economy is. You just admitted it right now. I'm glad that you did. I mean, at least you're honest with it. The 2017 year is Barack Obama's economy. So if any credit that you want to give to that economy, then give it to it. Now, I'm going to say this.
We got to get that microphone fixed.
Because he did juice it. He did.
I think I'm going to have to buy him a new headset microphone.
Maybe so. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So, 2017. We're not through 2018 yet, so stop judging it. He had one quarter, 2.2 GDP. Then he had the second quarter, 4.1 GDP. 4.1 is very good. Obama hit that mark 5 times.
So, look, man, the guy has done great with national security, immigration, foreign policy, cut regulations. He's so right in California, how California and Governor Brown has mismanaged. We have these huge fires. There's millions of cubic feet of timber laying on the ground that can be used. Here in California, the forest is so back, so he's cut this kind of stuff so that the lumber companies can go in there and start cleaning this stuff up. We're back to constitutional ideology, which that's what America was based on. Energy and environment is kicking butt. Healthcare is starting to turn around.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Gone down. You can pick your doctor. That lie of Obamacare.
It's not.
Lie. Absolute lie.
Okay, here's the thing. Let's just take the healthcare thing, because that's another dumb ass myth. Is the points on Obamacare, the biggest one for all of us is
two have Obamacare in California.
No, we already had our own system. We just expanded it to ACA. But the thing is that the most important thing there was eliminating the pre-existing conditions. That was the biggest thing.
It costs you a ton more money because it goes up in the second year, and many people their costs for their health.
So, Mr. Jesse T, because I want to get you on record here. Are you for insurance companies denying healthcare insurance or making crazy premiums because of somebody has a pre-existing condition?
Here's the problem. That's a loaded question because
it's not. It's not.
No, here's the backside to that. In the system that there was, the insurance companies could do that because they could not go out of the states. They had to stay in the state that they were providing their insurance. But when you allow people to be able to go out of state and have open competition and capitalism and a free market in finding the quality insurance, you have insurance packs that come together that lower the cost, that negotiate with the insurance companies because they want 10,000 people.
No, that's bullshit.
And that's what's happening.
That's bullshit. The law itself before the ACA said that insurance companies can deny you, put you on lifetime limits, or make this crazy amount of premium if you had a pre-existing condition. After the ACA, it made insurance companies.
Look, there are things of Obamacare. There are things of Obamacare that are okay, but most of it is not. The pre-existing thing, I can acquiesce and say yes, but what's being created now is the pre-existing thing is being covered because the insurance companies. Now.
No, it's not. The president just signed. The president just signed a proclamation or whatever the hell he was. I don't even know if it's the law that gives these insurance companies the right to sell junk insurance again. The same thing that we was getting away from before the ACA.
And you don't buy junk insurance, buddy. You buy the insurance, and it's cheaper than Obamacare.
Because junk insurance, because it doesn't cover anything. It doesn't cover anything.
Yes, it does. It does.
All right. See, here's the thing. This is you don't want to act like this is a philosophically different approach to it. But I'm just going to say it, is that I believe that no American should lose everything that they have, bankrupt-wise, sell their house, or whatever the case may be, because they get sick. When you allow companies like the healthcare companies, like the pharmaceuticals, to play with people's health, then you are playing a bad damn game. And the reality is that the ACA, the market approach, is a capitalist system. It is based on capitalism. It's based on a Republican program. They, instead of screaming at Barack Obama and his evilness with trying to force them to do the right thing, how dare he force the insurance companies to do the right thing, then maybe you should be screaming at the insurance companies that you're trying to protect.
Well, I will tell you, I don't like
Anyway, man, the next topic, man. We'll be here all day on that one.
Hey, D. Craig, give me some words on this.
Well, I got to say that Barack Obama is no longer in office, but we still have the liberal Democrats. We still have a lot of liberals, and we got a lot of policies. We got gay rights, trumping religious freedom. Trump is trying to do something about that.
So that's an ideology. That's an ideology, and that's what I'm saying. Is that if you're a conservative, you're going to love that type of shit. But that doesn't have anything to do with reality. That's called identity politics, and so it's what you guys seem to hate all the time. You, the first ones bringing it up.
Well, I was going to bring up that the Democrats are just such a major turnoff right now. They're just such a major turnoff. There's no policy coming from these people. It's all, we hate Trump. We hate Trump 24 hours a day. We hate Trump. They don't even need a reason to hate Trump. All sorts of craziness. This Omarosa chick is writing a book, claiming that she has a tape that said the N-word. Right? I mean, in my opinion, it's a smear campaign, and it's been going on since before he got elected. And they're
you guys
doing his whole presidency to smear the guy.
It couldn't be because he's incompetent. Right. No. It couldn't be because he comes out every day with some inflammatory crap every day. That couldn't be the reason why we don't like him.
And
we're just making up stuff about this guy. Every day he comes out with some new craziness.
Thank you.
And so craziness is the key word. And so
it's craziness today. What's the latest craziness?
It's craziness today. I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but he revoked the security clearance.
Absolutely.
What was wrong with that?
Brennan and a bunch of other people. And then he's got a list of other Obama people, that was security people that he's reviewing right now. Let me just get it out here because people might not know about it. Let me say what it is.
It's about time.
Right. And in the past, there's a procedure if you're going to take somebody's security clearance away. The reason why they leave these old heads up here for security clearance is so they can have a consistency when they're doing intelligence. So for example, Brennan was Clinton's dude.
Yeah, he wasn't too intelligent.
I'm sorry. He was Clinton's CIA guy. He served in that administration. This guy,
you know why the real reason why they give these security clearances and they let them have them for the rest of their lives, guys like Brennan, who are the head of these different departments, is because it's sort of a payoff. You keep the security clearance, you can have the inside connection. Thanks for serving America, and go write a book and make $60 million, and you can keep your security clearance.
No, there's 4.1 million Americans that have security clearances or of some form. Some of those guys will use that in security oriented jobs, and they use that and they use that to feed their families, whatever, and that's cool. But the big guys like Brennan is, and I'll give you an example of what has been said, and I don't know this for a fact, but I believe it because I believe this happens all the time. Is when you are a president of one administration and you're still trying to conduct intelligence. That intelligence for whatever you're trying to do might have gone back to the last administration. So there might be an opportunity where you need an expert or somebody that was in that past administration to go, hey, do you remember this? Do you remember this operation? Do you remember what happened here to the new administration? Brennan was actually one of the people that briefed the Obama administration for the takedown of bin Laden. They actually called him in because under his administration, that's what they did a lot of the surveillance. The beginning of the surveillance is there, so that's why. But the fact that the president did that, you can twist it all the fuck you want. He was petty. It was petty. It was payback. Stop. It was petty. It was payback. It was petty.
Them suckers need to go. Wait a minute. They've been looking for mystery Russians for 2 years now. Them motherfuckers need to go. They need to go. It's a performance issue. It's a performance issue. These motherfuckers, listen to this crazy story that they come with. No, you do not get to keep your security. No, you serve at the pleasure of the president. The president can fire anybody in the FBI, the CIA, the Army, whatever. You serve at his pleasure.
Because you could do a thing doesn't mean that you have to do a thing. It just makes me laugh. Wait a minute. It makes me laugh is that the one person that he targets all like that is the one person that's criticizing his performance. It's the one guy that's
That's why he needs to go.
He needs to fire any employee that doesn't.
He's free to criticize the president. He's free. But if he's going to criticize the president, then the president is going to take his security clearance. And you can call it petty. You can call it petty. That's what's going to happen.
Because now what you have to show.
Maybe if Obama did stuff like that, we could have had some of that hope and change.
Fuck that. Let me tell you.
Microphone went out. Microphone's gone.
Yeah. No, it might have been an act of God. I don't know. But no, seriously. You serve at the pleasure of the president. If the president doesn't like you, he gets to do that. And that's the way it is.
What country do you live in, Dominic?
United States.
You live in? What country do you live in? So you criticize your president for whatever he's done, and then he takes his authority to punish you personally because you said something personal about him. He's not taking the security.
No. Go to work and talk mess about your boss and see if there are not repercussions. Go to work and talk mess about your boss and see if there are not repercussions. Those people, they're free to talk all they want about Donald Trump, but they're not free to keep their jobs or whatever after the fact.
Brennan has been saying inflammatory things. Brennan has been saying inflammatory things for a long time.
That's right. So what? So what?
He let him slide, and he pulled the plug on him. It's that simple.
So what? So what? So because he's in a unique position
because
to say
they don't need him anymore.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Next topic. I mean,
he can't fire nobody. He can't fire nobody. You knew he was going to fire people. He said he was going to go in there and get rid of people. He said he was going to drain the swamp. These people have been looking for mystery Russians for 2 years. It's time for them to get lost.
What?
You don't realize how silly you guys sound right now.
I voted for him because
you don't realize how silly you sound right now.
I want to turn it upside down.
You don't realize how silly you are right now.
All right, so let's go on to this, and it really is. You know, it seems to me that the fake news media or Main Street media or the regular media, the networks, the big cable outlets, the big newspapers across the country and magazines, so they're going out of business very, very fast.
No, they're not.
They are too.
They got
ad dollars.
Here's the thing. They were before, but thanks to President Trump, they ain't going out of business now.
They're not selling ad dollars.
That's the one area that he has increased jobs.
Ad dollars, Del. They're not selling in newspapers across the nation. This is why you have them being gobbled up by a very few selected corporations or buying all of the remnants of these great newspapers that were independent. But nevertheless, you have this media that seems to consistently want to create hatred and racism. Forget about the presidency, just between Americans. It seems they found a niche that the Democrats, the Republicans, the independents, the religious factions, whatever your religion is, how you look, how you act, what your education is, they seem to be always looking for that moment where people can be angry at each other and they can incite more anger and more hate. Now, why is that happening all of a sudden in the last 25 years? Why has it been brewing to this point now, 30 years, where we're seeing things done on the street that we never saw before?
Sure, yeah.
Don't accept
sure you have.
Everybody has a cell phone. Why is it? Why is it that we are seeing this now? The hatred amongst people.
Sure,
I believe the media is largely responsible for this.
Oh, geez, because they report what's happening.
No, there's more. There's more, right? Okay, like you get these other things. Antifa, for example, hijacking peaceful demonstrations. Somebody posted on one of my pages that there were eyewitnesses who saw Antifa and the Nazis get off of the same bus and then go walk into the demonstration, the otherwise peaceful demonstration, and go in and make it into a scene of violence. And Antifa does this. What I'm trying to say is somebody's paying these people to go around and behave like domestic terrorists. This mess gets on the news, and this further divides us, further prevents us from talking about whatever it is that we are supposed to be talking about. And I agree with Jesse that somebody is injecting all this separatism and all this hate. And I do believe that a lot of it is coming from the Democrats. I believe it. And you want to see how the Democrats hate you? Walk away. walk away and see the messages that they leave, right? Oh my goodness, man. And look at the violence. Look at the attacks. Like, I posted some of them. Antifa sucker punching an old man and like just violence, man. And it's coming from the liberals. I mean, I would have never thought it, but yeah, the liberals are violent now.
Let me read you something, Dale, and I want you to respond to that, okay? And this may add some fuel to your fire in terms of the response. This was out of the newspaper recently, editorial that was written about a year ago, August 18th, out of the Washington Examiner, okay? And that's a long-standing paper, been around for a long time. And Jennifer Kearns wrote this. It's a short little something, but I just wanted to read this. Before Charlottesville, of course, Charlottesville is when that terrible thing happened. Democrats voted for racist policies for more than 100 years. Now, in her research, this is what she writes. In the aftermath of Charlottesville, an awful lot of awful things have been said about Republicans and race relations. However, the left's accusations of racism could be further from the truth that has played out in the halls of Congress over the last 150 years. It's shocking that as statutes come down and historical racism is being bandied about, no one has mentioned the Democrats' utterly shameful treatment of African Americans throughout history. Over the last 100 years, Republicans have stood up for African Americans, while Democrats not only stood on the sidelines, but in fact served as obstructionists to civil liberties. Here are 12 examples that she states. Democrats voted to keep African Americans in slavery, opposing the 13th Amendment, which officially freed the slaves. Republicans passed the 14th Amendment, which granted slaves U.S. citizenship. Democrats didn't vote for it. They voted against it. Republicans also passed the 15th Amendment, which gave slaves the right to vote. Not a single one of the 56 Democrats in Congress at the time voted for it. Furthermore, Republicans passed all the civil rights laws of the 1860s, including the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the Reconstruction Act of 1867 after the Civil War. The Republican Party itself was founded as the Anti-Slavery Party in 1854, and the party subsequently gave President Lincoln and ultimately the Emancipation Proclamation. Republicans supported African Americans not only in the 1800s, but in modern times as well. In the 1960s, with the exception of President Lyndon B. Johnson, who was a Democrat, who was instrumental in passing the 64 Civil Rights Act and the 65 Voting Rights Act in the wake of the assassination of John F. Kennedy, the truth is that Democrats were the largest single blockade to civil rights. Long after slavery was over with, the Democratic Party continued down their path to deny African Americans their rights. Wikipedia says it refers to this as the disenfranchisement era. PBS reported the Democratic Party identified itself as the white man's party and demonized the Republican Party as being Negro-dominated, even though whites were in control. The Democratic Party was responsible for passing Jim Crow laws, the black civil codes that forced Americans to utilize separate drinking fountains, swimming pools, and other facilities in the early 20th century. Even Democratic icons such as Kennedy voted against the 57 Civil Rights Act, while in the U.S. Senate, Al Gore Sr., Al Gore's dad, who was a senator, a lot of people didn't know that, also opposed it. But you don't hear the Antifa movement or the BLM movement or anyone else on the left talking about Democrats' shameful involvement in this part of American history. So why is it that the Republicans are seen to be such awful, racist people in the last 40 years, when quite the opposite, historically and currently, seems to be different?
Because the Republican Party of today is the Democratic Party from the period that you're talking about. They're the same people that you're talking about. It's not about a party. It's about the people that support the party. So let me give you some real history here, sir. Is in 1877, the election of 1877, Rutherford B. Hayes versus Tillman, a Southerner, Tennessee. Rutherford B. Hayes actually lost the election through the electoral vote. It was controversy, it was close or whatever, but all the scholars say that he actually did lose it. The Southerners said, hey, look, you can have the damn presidency. Just remove these troops in Reconstruction. So Reconstruction only lasted for 12 years from the point of the 13th Amendment until the point where the troops were removed from the South. When the troops were removed from the South in 1877, the Republican Party began to slowly abandon what they had installed. All those things that you said did with the Republican Party passed is exactly true. Back then, they were the good guys. Back then, the Democrats were the bad guys. And every black American voted from that time, from Lincoln all the way up to Herbert Hoover in 1928, solidly 80%, those who could vote in the North, for Republicans. They were our friends. They were the ones who played the right game, especially in northern cities. Because in the North, you were actually able to vote because they enforced those laws. But those segregated cities that the Republicans ran, they actively courted black votes. They courted them and they delivered on what they did. So if that's the party that you're talking about, bring that party back. That party is not this party anymore. That party changed right after Herbert Hoover in 1928. In 1928, the black Americans overwhelmingly voted for Herbert Hoover. Now, I'm not going to go into what this clown was, but you go back and take a look at history. A Republican president that had a policy called Lily White policy. This guy actively went back and started disassembling all the gains that were being made since the time of Lincoln. He took out federal black judges. He removed them from the South. He took out all federal black employees. He didn't want no black people around him. He actively tried to get rid of the black vote for Republicans. And still, black people voted for his ass. In 1932, when FDR came along, his first term, he beat Hoover. Black folks voted for, only gave FDR in 1938 21% of the vote. 21%. So we still voted for the Republican there, even though Herbert Hoover threw us in the goddamn trash can.
So you flash forward now.
No, there's no flashing forward.
No,
you guys can do this all you want.
No, you flash forward to 100 years or so.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
And you look at the '68 Civil Rights Act.
No, I'm not going to do that.
That was Senator Everett Dickerson. He was a Republican from Illinois.
Sir, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
The Philadelphia Plan. Richard M. Nixon signed that created affirmative action. That helped minorities. And Ronald Reagan made Martin Luther King Jr. and also appointed a judge to the Supreme Court that allowed that backed up affirmative action for today in a lawsuit that went to the Supreme Court. So things change. And what I'm saying is that President Donald Trump is doing much better than Obama, Clinton, or the Bushes did on Americans and minority Americans all around, and all Americans.
Well, you have to understand that the liberal agenda, what's going on with the liberal thing is they basically take black people. Not only do they take your vote for granted, not only do they take your opinion, not only do they take you for granted, they won't even acknowledge your blackness. They don't even acknowledge that you're black. You're not black anymore. Now you're a person of color. You're a person of color. So all of you people of color, go over there and you can work out your problems together. But what this does is it allows the liberal Democrats to never address any issues that directly affect the Black community. And don't say it would be racist, because they have all kind of policies for gay people, you know, transgender bathrooms, and they want to let transgender people serve in the military. And no, wait a minute. And let me get on that for a minute. All right. Transgenderism is not being gay. It's a mental illness. It's literally a mental illness called gender dysphoria. These people need help. Their suicide rate is like 50% of them are suicidal. Okay. Cross-dressers are very suicidal. These people need help. They need therapy. What do the liberals give them? Lipstick, high heels, wigs, and they tell them this lie that they can be anything that they want to be. And this is a lie. And this is what the Democrats, this is what the liberals have become. So they don't reflect my values, and I won't vote for them.
This is where I'm seeing the hatred coming from. It's this separation that the media divides these types of topics and exacerbates the concerns that people have, and just isolates and throws fuel on the fact. And we have more hatred now than ever before. And also, people don't read anymore. People don't investigate anymore. People believe everything they see on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and most of that, probably 75% of it, is just all silliness. You know, it's hard to figure out what's true and what's not true. And that's absolutely right. Hey, guys, it's been a great show today, man. We didn't get everything covered, but we covered a lot. And once again, another great show. As we finish up here on the Jesse T Show, every Thursday from 5 to 6, we're doing it right here. It's called The Real Story. Hey, give me the last word, Del and Dominic. Del, give me the last word. What you got to say?
Kendall Investor, yahoo.com, everywhere.
Hey, Big D Craig.
Dominique Dejean Craig on Facebook. Follow me and walk away.
There you go, guys. The Jesse T Show right here on Facebook.com/Jesse T. Also, look for it on the Power of Voices and YouTube channel, Jesse Torrero. It's podcasting up right now. Love to see your comments. Share it out. Let us know what you're thinking about. We'll start airing some of these comments next week. And as we continue on with the dialogue from just some regular guys talking the fun. It's the Jesse T Show. I'll see you guys. The Brown Beauty's off duty. See ya!
Okay. Okay, that was pretty good. I gotta give All right, you guys, I'm gonna have to go get with these kids. I'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Hey, Dal, I'm gonna give you a call, Dal.
Yeah, I got some questions. Actually, I'm almost done with your paperwork. The only thing that I need is the start date of your corporation.
Okay, let me pull that up right now, and I'll get right back to you. I'll call you.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Responsible Russia investigation was director of the CIA in the Democratic administration of former President Obama, and one of those who presented evidence to Trump shortly before his inauguration that Russia had interfered in the election. Trump said in the interview, "I call it the rigged witch hunt. It is a sham, and these people led it." So I think it's something that had.
Where's the drink?
Okay, so we got him, right? This is all over now, right? No, nothing matters anymore. John Brennan was White House Homeland Security Advisor. He ran the National Counterterrorism Center under George W. Bush. He spent 25 years at the CIA. Right.